Howdy, cadre. Sorry for the false start music cold open there. Yeah, we're coming back into Infinite. It's been a little while since I've been here. I don't think I need that much food. I wanted to revisit the couple of the Greek alphabet letters. I had posited my own theory about alpha, beta, gamma in terms of personality types. And I've done more reading since then and found there's some articles online positing 5 types. They add omega, which is way down at the end. They add sigma. Well, some of them add sigma, some add delta, I think. And they add gamma, like I had posited. But I wanted to clarify, because if people are taking me as an authority, I don't know what I'm talking about on this subject. Not done enough research and was philosophizing more than doing an anthropological analysis. But on more reading, I thought I would revisit the subject, and things are kind of complicated, so I thought I would go into each of these on their own to talk about them. So, I didn't want to go back into Delta, did I? I think that's what that means right there. I think I killed the world, but anyways, we're not dealing with that yet in this episode. Let's step into Gamma. Refresh our memory, if it's even safe. Withers. It's maybe not safe. Pillars confirmed. Huh. Maybe it's safe to be here. Maybe I shouldn't be here at all. I probably want to... It's a pretty place. Complicated. But we're not here to get bogged down by that. So I'm going to tab over and read you some things while we stand here. So I did find some sources that posited 3. Alpha, beta, and gamma. And one of those sources is the Encyclopedia of Evolutionary Psychological Science. And it's interesting to note that their theories are largely based on studies of non-human primates, which a lot of people in our species might argue you can't do that. You can't look at non-human primates and then create human archetypes based on those. But I'm certainly a believer that while we're the most complicated species and advanced in terms of use of technology, communication, creation of society, stuff like that, I do think it's useful to look at our most closely related non-human species to better understand ourselves. It's kind of like the value of science fiction in making something less personal. studying it from an outsider's point of view, and then using it to relate back to our own. Anyways, so this interpretation that I found on link.springer.com is focused on the three types of, in fact, they say the definition is the ranked order of males within a group. So they're not looking at the other gender, and we could get sidetracked on that quite a bit. I think I would rather develop an understanding of social hierarchy that looks beyond gender without stripping it of gender. I think a lot of times women are expected to fall into a beta role in society, that they're expected to be followers, and if they act like alpha, they're called certain bad words. And this goes back to the time of male leaders being afraid of witchcraft or whatever, that women hold some power that they can't understand. But again, let's not get. I don't want to focus on that. It's just I want to acknowledge that these people studying non-human primates are mainly looking at the dominance hierarchy that they see within the males. And even here, they've developed alpha, beta, and gamma, where the alpha are the leaders, the beta are the followers or supporters of this social structure, and they can be the most dangerous because they can be the ones that, as a group, enforce the social hierarchy. And gammas are considered the lowest on this dominance hierarchy because, well, it can be for different reasons, and I think that's where even having three fails, because it seems quiet. Even three fails because you're now stereotyping anyone who doesn't fall into the alpha or beta roles as being some third other, which is where I think we have to move on from this evolutionary psychological science focus. But let me just read the introduction here before I close the tab. The terms alpha, beta, and gamma male are typically used to describe an individual's position within a social hierarchy. In linear hierarchies, alpha males are the highest ranking males within a group, followed by beta, and then gamma males. While this section is focused on male social status, it should be noted that females can also form strong social hierarchies. Dominance hierarchies can commonly be found in taxa exhibiting group living, where frequent conflict among individuals can occur. Individual rank can be used to predict the outcome of agonistic interactions between males, and thus be used to deter some of these aggressive encounters. This section will discuss some examples of how these terms are used across a variety of taxa. So it's obviously reductionist thinking, trying to simplify stuff down to just predict outcomes of conflicts, with the general prediction being that the alpha is going to win, the betas fall in line, and the gammas are somewhat outsiders from that social hierarchy. but again, I think a deeper look is warranted. Now, I see on like a social forum site, this is ignboards.com. It's a thread about alpha, beta, omega, gamma, or sigma. So they do not use delta. And in this outline, omegas are kind of self-confident versions of alphas who look more inward for their own sense of worth rather than to the social hierarchy themselves. It kind of describes them as just the omegas. As being able to lead themselves, not needing a support system necessarily from betas or whatever. But the focus here should be the gamma male. And yeah, just to cover it, the sigmas are kind of manipulative masterminds. They might be the the narcissists who are aware of the social hierarchy, but are above it or beyond it. Like they can see it working out and use it to their advantage when advantageous, and ignore it when able. But the focus here is the gamma male. And this, I don't like this explanation, but this describes them as a sort of invisible guy. There's nothing really spectacular about you. You are not a beta, but neither are you an alpha. Your personality and presence usually blends in with the rest of the room, and you're just sort of there. People like you just fine, and you usually don't have too much trouble with girls, but all the same, there's nothing particularly memorable or remarkable about you. You are not a born leader or an inherent follower, although you can take on these tasks depending on the situation. So at first glance, this seems to match what I was positing as a theory for gamma males, but I think even this conflates two very opposite types into one. I think this description is focused on a kind of head-down guy that whose primary motive is to avoid conflict. And if that were the case, gammas would not be ones who would be willing to step forward in times of crisis. What I was positing was a more self-confident type of gamma who perhaps is happy enough to step back when there's good leadership, but would step forward when the leadership is failing or a mutiny occurs. Or other sort of scenarios. But yeah, this one seems to be focused on gammas just don't want to rock the boat. They don't need to be seen as alphas or supporters of alphas. They're happy to just stay in the background their whole life, kind of. And I think there's more going on with that. They might argue that what I'm talking about are actually omegas, or perhaps even sigmas. But not all opportunists are in it for themselves. There are certainly opportunists who look for a chance to help the group as a whole, and so therefore appear inactive when they think they're in a well-functioning society or group, but then will become active when they sense that they need to. Hey, the withers wandered off. That's nice. So that's another source. Looking on urbandictionary.com, they have a little bit more positive interpretation of the gamma male. A person who rejects status and authority, believing that thinking for oneself is possible and desirable, and valuing freedom most. This orientation puts them at odds with most people in society, so gammas tend to be perceived as outsiders, but outsider status may not be important to their identity. Gammas tend to be comfortable alone, but have material, sexual, and social needs like all others. And even here, we start to conflate different types. I think that perhaps what they're acknowledging is some gammas reject the social hierarchy and try to escape it. And examples of this might be the ascetics of Buddhism or other cultures who withdraw from a society as a way to escape that social hierarchy. But the other type would, of course, be probably what we were just talking about in the last example, which is gammas who stay within society and just kind of keep their head down. And perhaps the key there is what they get from society. Can they stay a part of it and gain benefits like the access to materials, interactions, um, seeking partners in terms of sexual or other endeavors. Anyways, to continue reading, their attitudes towards society tend to alternate towards disdain for the herd, betas, and their cattle ranchers, alphas, and a struggle to just accept people as they are and give up bitterness. Often they find a small group of other gammas and proud betas to hang out with. In relationships with strong alphas, the outcome is usually mutual dislike that sometimes develops into grudging respect. In sexual relationships, they can be clingy towards the few people they can relate to, use those they don't respect, or be very detached if they have found happiness in their personal pursuits. Socially, gammas are usually nice, but can turn vicious if their personal space is threatened. They reject prevailing morality and can be extremely cynical and manipulative, or else find their own way, often drifting towards a quasi-Buddhistic worldview. As I was saying, these are opposites, and perhaps gamma's entire struggle is this opposition of being a part of society or withdrawing from it, trying to tackle and counter the social hierarchies, or giving up and just withdrawing to their own. Gammas tend to derive satisfaction from their private sense of awe, beauty, and mystery, rather than social acceptance or material things. The ability to find satisfaction in these things is often what keeps them going while being misfits in society. And as usual on urbandictionary.com, you can have a wide variety of posts, and not always the best ones get upvoted. This one is at the top. Like if I scroll down a little bit, this just says the third and gamma male, the third and lowest tier of male social hierarchy. Unlike the dominant alpha or the passive beta, the gamma male's hallmark traits are clinginess, possessiveness, and manipulation. And here is where I think having only 3 types is a disservice, because you can see the difference here. In the last entry I read, clinginess and possessiveness were towards things that they valued, but their sense of self-worth could allow them to let go of those things. And manipulation, I think, is a corner case of perhaps gammas that have been so disillusioned from society that they start using other people almost as chess pieces in a larger game that they're playing. But again, that might fall more into the sigma type if we accept that there's more than 3 types. And then to go back to this original source, which is just some article that lays out 5, it describes gamma males as adventurous, fun-loving, and restless. Gamma males love having fun, but don't shrug off their responsibilities at the same time. They're definitely adventurous and fun-loving and tend to get very restless if they're left idle for too long. It is possible an alpha male might mature into a gamma male because gamma males are a more refined version of them. I think what they're saying is you get past the benefits of just the social hierarchy, and maybe by aging you lose some of those benefits and see past them. Anyways, to continue, they're sensitive towards the opposite sex and are very aware of the needs and nature of what women truly want, and they do anything in their power to fulfill their partner's needs. Yep, women are lucky to have a gamma male in their life. They also display a certain amount of feminine behaviors, expectations, and values to win their partner's heart. They love putting their family first in any given situation and scenario. So a fairly positive take, even though you can see some of that tension between becoming aware of the social hierarchy and also rejecting it. The part about displaying a certain amount of feminine behaviors may just be that they've gotten past that polaristic dichotomy, and accept that all men and women display what we traditionally have pigeonholed into just male or female roles, and even that again could be seen as men should be alphas, women should be betas, and yeah, certainly I'm one who rejects that limited viewpoint and thinks that it's better to accept that we all, well, okay, that works too. Think it's better to accept that we all can take those roles. Certainly we should have more females in leadership positions, possibly. And yeah, so I'm going to continue on to do the others. I'm not sure if I probably will skip Delta because I don't. Let me just double check. I don't see Delta being used. Omega and Sigma. Where's... No, there's Delta. So, yeah, maybe I need to do 4 of these, not 3. So, yeah, but we'll do them in Greek alphabet order just for the sake of... Wait, this is what I want. Just for the sake of an order that's somewhat arbitrary. So we'll move on to Delta, which I think I was not going to re-enter. Maybe I didn't want to re-enter it just because it's so scary that I killed all the coral. But let's face that. Insert catchphrase here.